She only gets married once, Mom said, emptying my savings bonds. 5 years later, my assistant knocked. Dr. Anderson, your parents are in the pharmacy about payment plans. I looked up from the medical patent I was signing and said, tell them the pharmacy closes at 6. They can speak to the financial counselor about assistance programs like everyone else. I signed my name on the patent application, a revolutionary insulin delivery system that would change millions of lives, and tried to ignore the irony. My parents needed help affording Dad's diabetes medication, and here I was, about to make millions from the very disease they'd ignored while planning my sister's fairy tale wedding. 5 years. It had been only 5 years since they'd emptied my future for Chloe's special day. I was 24, in my second year of medical school, when the bonds matured. 20 years of birthday money, Christmas gifts, and graduation presents from grandparents, aunts, uncles, all invested in savings bonds in my name. They'd grown to $47,000, not a fortune, but enough to get me through med school without crushing debt. We need to talk about Chloe's wedding, Mom had announced that Thanksgiving, her eyes sparkling with excitement I'd never seen when discussing my medical school achievements. What about it? I'd asked, though Chloe's engagement to her investment banker boyfriend was all anyone talked about anymore. She has such a specific vision, Mom gushed. The Plaza Hotel, custom Vera Wang dress, flowers flown in from Holland, a live band from Nashville. It's going to be magical. Sounds expensive. $60,000, Dad said, the number hanging in the air like a challenge. Wow, hope Brad's family is contributing. They're paying for the honeymoon, Chloe said defensively. Bora Bora, 2 weeks. So you need $60,000 for one day? The most important day of my life, Chloe corrected, her engagement ring catching the light. She'd made sure everyone noticed the 3-carat stone at every opportunity. We've saved $15,000, Mom continued. Brad's parents gave 10. We're looking at options for the rest. That's when I felt it, the shift in the room, the way they all carefully didn't look at me. No, I said immediately, whatever you're thinking. No, hear us out, Dad said in his reasonable voice. Your bonds are worth $47,000. We'd only need 35. You'd still have 12,000 left. Those bonds are for medical school. You have loans, Mom pointed out. Everyone takes loans for school. I already have loans. The bonds were to minimize them, to let me focus on studying instead of working 3 jobs. She only gets married once, Mom said, as if that explained everything. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. So is medical school. Natalie, don't be selfish, Chloe said, tears already forming. She'd perfected the art of crying without ruining her makeup. I've dreamed of this wedding since I was 5, and I'd dreamed of being a doctor since I was 7. The difference is, I worked for my dream. Are you saying I don't work? Chloe's voice rose. I've spent months planning this wedding. Planning to spend other people's money isn't work. Girls, please, Dad intervened. Natalie, think about it logically. You'll be a doctor. You'll make plenty of money to pay back loans. But Chloe only has this one chance at her perfect wedding. Perfect wedding? She's known Brad for 8 months. When you know, Chloe said dreamily. What I know is that those bonds are mine. Legally, morally, mine. Actually, Mom pulled out paperwork. We're still listed as custodians. We can access them until you're 25. I'm 24, which means we have a year to help both our daughters achieve their dreams. By stealing from one to give to the other? It's not stealing, Dad said firmly. It's family helping family. Chloe would do the same for you. I looked at my sister, who was scrolling through Pinterest, already mentally spending my money on centerpieces. Would you, Chloe? Would you give me $35,000 if I needed it? She looked up, offended. I don't have $35,000, but if you did? That's not fair. This is my wedding we're talking about. My special day. And this is my future we're destroying for your special day. One day, Mom said sharply. You're being asked to sacrifice for one day. Your sister's wedding day. The day every girl dreams of. Not every girl dreams of a $60,000 party. Some of us dream of curing diseases and saving lives. You can still do that, Dad said, just with more loans. Do you know what $35,000 in additional loans means? With interest? That's $50,000 I'll be paying back. That's years of working in underserved areas because they're the only ones offering loan forgiveness. That's delaying having a family, buying a house, having any life outside of paying back debt you created. Now who's being dramatic? Chloe rolled her eyes. It's just money. Just money? Then why don't you just have a smaller wedding? Because I deserve my dream wedding, she snapped. I'm only doing this once. What about my dreams? You'll achieve yours no matter what, Mom said simply. You always do. You're the smart one, the driven one. Chloe needs our help more. Chloe needs a reality check. 60,000 for a party is insane. It's not a party, Chloe cried. It's my wedding, the beginning of my life with Brad. Then maybe Brad should pay for it. His family already contributed, Dad said. 10,000 for a $60,000 wedding, while his bride's family goes into debt. We're not going into debt, Mom said. We're using available resources. My resources, family resources, Dad corrected. And the family has decided. They'd already decided. This whole conversation was just a formality, a chance for me to agree gracefully, but I wasn't graceful. I fought, begged, reasoned, cried, none of it mattered. The bonds were cashed the next week. The wedding was everything Chloe dreamed of. I attended an address I'd bought at Target, smiled for photos I'd never look at, and gave a toast through gritted teeth. The flowers were indeed from Holland. The band was indeed from Nashville. Every detail was indeed perfect. The marriage lasted 11 months. Turns out Brad had a gambling problem he'd hidden well, also a cocaine habit, also a girlfriend in Boston. The fairy tale ended with divorce papers and Chloe moving back home, her perfect wedding dress still hanging in Mom's closet like a $60,000 ghost. Meanwhile, I graduated medical school with $340,000 in debt instead of $290,000. That extra $50,000? It haunted every decision. I couldn't take the research position I wanted, paid too little, couldn't join Doctors Without Borders, needed income immediately, couldn't even take a sick day, every hour meant money toward loans. But necessity breeds innovation. Working in an underfunded clinic, I saw diabetic patients rationing insulin, skipping doses, dying from a manageable disease because they couldn't afford medication. It made me think of Dad, who'd started showing symptoms but kept forgetting to get tested. No insurance, he'd admitted when I pressed. They'd let it lapse to help Chloe with her post-divorce expenses. That's when I started developing my insulin delivery system. Nights, weekends, every spare moment went into research. If patients could get a month's supply in one affordable dose, if we could eliminate daily injections, if we could make it stable without refrigeration. 3 years of work, 2 rejected prototypes, 1 breakthrough that changed everything. Now, 5 years after they'd cashed my bonds, I held the patent that would revolutionize diabetes treatment. The licensing offers were already coming in, millions up front, royalties that would dwarf any doctor's salary. And my parents were in my pharmacy, unable to afford insulin. I made my way downstairs, past the pictures of my medical school graduation they hadn't attended. Chloe was having a hard time, past the award I'd won for community service they didn't know about. The pharmacy was busy, but I spotted them immediately. Dad looked grayer, thinner, older. Mom clutched his arm like she was holding him upright. Dr. Anderson, the pharmacist called out. Your parents are here about Mr. Anderson's prescription. I approached the counter. What seems to be the problem? Natalie, Mom's face flooded with relief. Thank God, there's been a misunderstanding about Dad's insulin. No misunderstanding, the pharmacist said quietly. The prescription is $400 a month. Insurance denied coverage. $400? Dad's voice was weak. But I need it. My blood sugar is over 300, I said, glancing at his recent lab work on the screen. You've been diabetic for at least 2 years without treatment. We couldn't afford, Mom started. To see a doctor. Yes, I figured. Too busy helping Chloe maintain her post-divorce lifestyle? That's not fair, Mom protested. She lost everything. She lost a marriage that lasted less than a year. I lost my financial security for a lifetime. But we're not here to discuss Chloe. Can you help? Dad asked directly. The medication. Can you help? I looked at him, really looked at him. The man who'd cashed my bonds without blinking. Who'd chosen Chloe's one perfect day over my entire future. Who'd literally sold my tomorrow for her today. The pharmacy has payment plans, I said professionally. There are also patient assistance programs, generic options. The financial counselor can walk you through everything. Natalie, please, Mom begged. He's your father. He was my father when he emptied my savings bonds. That didn't stop him. That was different. You're right. It was different. I was healthy, young, with a future you could mortgage. He's sick, older, with a disease that will kill him without treatment. Much higher stakes. How can you be so cold? How could you be so cruel? You took my money for a party. A party, Mom. Flowers that died in a week. Food that was forgotten. A band no one remembers. And now Dad might die because you can't afford medicine. We didn't know he'd get sick. No, you just knew I'd get buried in debt. That was acceptable. That was the price of Chloe's perfect day. Can you at least give us a discount? Dad asked. You work here. I own here. I corrected. This is my pharmacy. My practice. Built despite the debt you put me in. Their eyes widened. You own the building, the practice, the pharmacy. Turns out necessity really is the mother of invention, and desperation is its father. Then you can afford to help us, Mom said triumphantly. I can afford a lot of things. The question is whether I should. We're your parents. Were you my parents when you stole my bonds? When you mortgaged my future for Chloe's wedding? When you chose her wants over my needs? We've apologized. No, you haven't. Not once. You've justified, explained, defended, but never apologized. Silence fell between us. Other customers pretended not to stare. I'm sorry, Dad said quietly. We're sorry. We shouldn't have taken your money. Because you need my help now? Or because it was wrong? Both, he admitted. It was wrong, and we need help. At least he was honest. I pulled out my prescription pad, wrote quickly, take this to the financial counselor. It's approval for our hardship program. Insulin at cost, about $40 a month. Natalie, but, I continued, there are conditions. First, you'll participate in our diabetes education program, every class, every session. Second, you'll volunteer here 20 hours a month, helping other patients navigate insurance and assistance programs. Third, you'll write a letter to my medical school, explaining why you believe parent financial interference should be considered in scholarship applications. That's humiliation, Mom protested. That's accountability. Take it or leave it. We'll take it, Dad said quickly. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank the patients you'll be helping, the ones whose families didn't sacrifice their health for a party. I turned to leave, then stopped. Oh, and the patent I was signing when you arrived? It's for a new insulin delivery system. 1 dose monthly, shelf-stable, affordable. It'll help millions of diabetics worldwide. That's wonderful, Dad said weakly. It is, and it exists because I couldn't afford to take the easy path after graduation, because my debt forced me into clinics where I saw real need, because your choice to fund Chloe's wedding led me to patients who couldn't fund their survival. So we helped? Mom asked hopefully. No, you hurt. I just refused to let that hurt define my limits. Will you ever forgive us? Dad asked. I forgave you the day I realized your choices freed me from feeling obligated to you. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and it definitely doesn't mean enabling. We're not asking for enabling, aren't you? You came here expecting your daughter the doctor to fix the mess you made, just like you expected me to sacrifice for Chloe's mess. The pattern continues. We've learned our lesson, Mom insisted. Have you? Where's Chloe today? They exchanged glances. Shopping. There's a sale at Nordstrom. I laughed, actually laughed. Of course she is. Still spending money you don't have on things she doesn't need while Dad rations insulin. Nothing's changed. She's been through a lot. We've all been through a lot. The difference is, some of us used it to grow. I left them there with their prescription and their conditions. Back in my office, I looked at the patent application again. Years of work, born from years of struggle, created by the necessity they'd forced on me. My phone buzzed. Chloe. How dare you humiliate Mom and Dad like that, making them volunteer like common. I hung up and blocked her number. I had no interest in her outrage or her adjectives. The irony wasn't lost on me. They'd cashed my bonds to pay for her wedding, a union that failed spectacularly. Now I was providing Dad's medication at cost, a union of doctor and patient that would save his life. One investment in vanity, one investment in humanity. The returns spoke for themselves. That night, I called my broker. I want to set up a fund for medical students whose families have raided their education savings. Full-ride scholarships for those who can prove financial interference. That's very specific. It's very necessary. Some families see their children's savings as communal property. Those students need protection. Speaking from experience? Speaking from expertise. My parents cashed my bonds for my sister's wedding. Now they can't afford insulin. But you're helping them? At cost. With conditions. Because that's what doctors do. We heal. Even when it hurts. And the sister? Still shopping while they struggle. Some people never learn. But you did. I learned that family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about who invests in your dreams versus who cashes them out for their own purposes. I hung up and returned to my work. Somewhere out there, another medical student was watching their family drain their future for someone else's present. But maybe, just maybe, my scholarship would catch them. Because she only gets married once? Well, you only get one chance to protect your future from those who would sell it for flowers from Holland. And sometimes, the best medicine is prevention. Even if it comes 5 years too late for yourself.